Hello class 10. Today I'll resume my chapter of reproductive system from fertilization. Now you know what is fertilization? First come to the definition of fertilization. The fusion of the male gamete and the female gamete to form a zygote is called fertilization. Now out of the millions of sperms released into the vagina, very few are able to climb up to the upper parts of the oviduct. The rest die on the way and are absorbed. Now, we must know what is the structure of the sperm. Now, structure of the sperm, the diagram is also very important, and we need to know the explanation also. First, you see there is a head portion. I'll come to the diagram. There is a head portion which we call as acrosome at the top of the head of the sperm, which consists of an enzyme, hyaluronidase. This hyaluronidase is secreted to facilitate entry of the sperm into the egg by dissolving the wall of the ovum. The nucleus contains genetic material which during fertilization combines with the nucleus of the egg and thus restoring the normal number of 23 pairs, because that will be 22 plus X or 22 plus Y, and obviously the egg will be 22 plus X. Okay. The mitochondria contained in the middle piece provide energy, that is ATP, for the activity of the sperm to swim. The tail makes lashing movements for propulsion. So mitochondria is another very important thing in this structure because it consists of the ATP, which actually helps for the motility of the sperm. Okay. Now you see the diagram. This diagram is very important. It may come for your drawing. And also you see the ovum surrounded by few sperms. This particular diagram is also very important. Okay. Now during fertilization, several sperms may surround an egg, but only one sperm will enter it. In doing so, the tail is left behind and only the head part penetrates the egg. Now, as soon as one sperm enters the egg, the entry of other sperms is prevented by a chemical barrier. Okay? So, this is the concept of fertilization. Now, what is implantation? After the fertilization, when the zygote is formed, the zygote soon starts dividing cleavage into 2, 4, 8, 16 cells and so on. By the time it reaches the uterus, it has already formed a small hollow ball of numerous cells that is known as blastocyst. Very important. This is a kind of embryo which forms a pit in the wall of the uterus, which we call as endometrium, and gets fixed in it in about a week's, that is about 5 to 7 days time after ovulation. This process is called implantation and it produces the state of pregnancy. Okay, so as soon as implantation occurs, pregnancy occurs. There is a definition of implantation also in the next page. The fixing of the blastocyst to the wall of the uterus is termed implantation. Very important. Now we need to know what is embryo, what is fetus, what is pregnancy. The definitions are very important. The uterus continues to develop to take care of the developing embryo. By the end of 5 weeks of pregnancy, the embryo is quite advanced. The heart and circulatory system have been formed. After 2 months, limbs have also been formed. Okay. Now, this diagram is not important for drawing, but it may come for your labeling. So, go through the diagram. Okay. Now, amnion and amniotic fluid, another very important term which we must remember. Because amnion is a sac which develops around the embryo even before the formation of allantois. A fluid, amniotic fluid, fills the space between the amnion and the embryo. So this is the location of amniotic fluid. And what are the functions? Very important functions. It serves very important functions. Protects the embryo from mechanical and physical damages. Keep an even pressure all around the embryo. Allows the fetus some restricted movement, and it prevents sticking of the fetus to the amnion. So all the 4 points are very important for your ICSE. Okay. Now what is placenta? Okay, before going to that, please come to the next page. See this diagram. Here we can see amnion, amniotic fluid, chorion, another layer, umbilical cord, placenta, mouth of the uterus. Okay, so this diagram is very important for your labeling. Clear? Now, what is this placenta? The growing embryo is a living organism. It needs food and oxygen. It excretes nitrogenous wastes and carbon dioxide, which need to be continuously removed. These special functions are performed by a structure called placenta. Very important structure, and it is a disc-like structure attached to the uterine wall. A cord containing blood vessels connects the placenta with the fetus. This is called umbilical cord, another very important term which you must remember. The placenta is formed of two sets of minute finger-like projections, the villi. You see the students, they have shown it in this particular diagram. See, they have shown this artery and this vein, right? This is the umbilical cord, and they have said you that they have two sets of minute finger-like projections, the villi, and these two are helping the blood to get in and to go out. One set of villi are given out by the uterine wall and the other set by an extension from the embryo, which we call as allantois. The two sets get interlocked, but they never open into each other. So that is why it never mingles with the blood of the mother, because you know blood of the mother can be infected also, right? Now this is the definition of placenta. You will learn it. Functions of placenta, this one we have to know that what are the materials that comes from mother to fetus, and these are the three products which is eliminated from fetus to mother. Now about the permeability of the placenta is permeable to respiratory gases, nutrients and antibodies, but it does not allow the passage of germs from the mother to the fetus. Certain viruses like the HIV or AIDS can pass through the placenta if the mother is already infected. Secondly, if there was a direct continuity of blood between the mother and the fetus without the placenta, the relatively high pressure of the mother's blood would seriously damage the soft and delicate tissues of the fetus. Placenta also acts as an endocrine gland. It produces the hormones called estrogens and progesterone. Presence of progesterone in urine provides for certain tastes of pregnancy. So you must know why placenta act as an endocrine gland. The simple answer is because it can secrete two hormones, estrogen and progesterone. It's because you know endocrine means something is related with the hormone. So that is why placenta also acts as an endocrine gland, right? Now this chart you can go through, then it will be easier for you to understand the development of human embryo. Okay, what is the zygote stage, what is the morula stage, what is the blastocyst stage, then comes the embryo, then the advanced embryo, then fetus, and ultimately the infant which is taking birth. So this chart can help you to understand what are the stages of zygote. Okay, and as earlier I have said that this diagram is very important for your labeling. Now what is parturition? Parturition is the full term of the development of the embryo in the uterus, and parturition is actually the act of giving birth. Now before the parturition stage or before the giving birth of the baby, the term of development of the embryo or the, you can say the full term baby, is called gestation. Now in humans it lasts for about 280 days. That means 9 months, 10 days. Okay. Generally we say that it takes 9 months, but actually scientifically it is 9 months and 10 days. At the time of birth, the baby is pushed out by the powerful contractions of the muscles of the uterus head first. In a few minutes, the blood vessels in the umbilical cord shrink and can be tied and cut. After about 15 minutes, the placenta breaks from the uterus and is expelled out as afterbirth. Uterus contracts and gradually comes back to normal in a few days. Now, what is parturition? It is the act of expelling the full term fetus from the mother's uterus at the end of gestation. So, gestation and parturition is actually interrelated to each other. Now, what are twins? Now, there are two types of twins. I hope you all know it. One is identical, another is fraternal. Now, fraternal means produced from two eggs, because sometimes we see that the brother and sister, they have taken birth at the same time, but they look exactly dissimilar to each other, and also they are they can be, one of them can be sister, another one can be brother. So those are fraternal twins because they are taking birth from two different eggs, so their gender can also differ. So their everything can differ, the looks, the gender, the characteristics, everything can differ, because they are known as diovular or dizygotic, because they are taking place from two different eggs which are released from the ovaries at a time, and both may get fertilized to produce two individuals. So such twins are called fraternal. And identical means when it is produced from one egg. That means one egg, it is being fertilized by one sperm, again it is dividing into two parts. So definitely either they could be both the boys or both girls, and they are exactly similar, copies to each other. Maybe very slight 1% or 2% dissimilarity we can get, but mostly they are very, very similar and alike. Okay, I think you all have heard about triplets, that is three individuals born at a time, quadruplets, four born at a time, and the chances of survival of all the children in multiple birth decrease with the increase in their number. This you must know. Okay. Now these diagrams are not very important for you, as I don't think it will come for your labeling, but these diagrams, you please go through the diagrams so that you can understand well the topic. Okay. And here in this chart they have shown stages in birth. They have shown the how it is becoming one baby, then fraternal twins, then identical twins. Okay, what is the cleavage part, again the morula part, how the morula is taking place from blastocyst or from the blastula, and ultimately how the infants are taking birth. Okay, so this is all about the chapter. Now, other than this, we need not to know anything from this chapter. Okay, students, so I have taken almost 3 classes. So if you have any problem regarding this chapter, you can ask me. Always you are free to ask me any question you want in the comment box, and go through the question answers also. I'll always suggest to go through the question answers at the back of the chapter, because those are also given in the pattern of ICSE, and I think it will help you a lot in solving the test papers also. I hope you all have bought the test papers and you are solving it. If you have any problem regarding your test paper questions also, you can come up with that, and also with the chapter's back questions. Okay, so go through the chapter repeatedly so that you don't miss any part of it, and also the diagrams which I have said simultaneously. Okay, thank you.